How's it going, everybody? Brett Mix here for another SummerSlam review. It's August 11th, 2019 at the Scotiabank Arena. It's sold out crowd from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's WWE SummerSlam 2019. Hi, Brett, guys. I'm Brett Mix from Ultra Wrestling 101. Hit like and subscribe if you like my videos. I do history of wrestling every single day, and I also keep up to date with Raw, SmackDown notes, reviews, pre-shows, and PLE events as well as other news topics that WWE goes through. So if you hit subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate that. But today we're looking at the 2019 edition. We're going all the way to 2023. We started with 88, and now we're going to 2023, and we're almost there at 2019. As I mentioned, this takes place from Canada's Toronto, Ontario, Canada's Scotiabank Arena. They kicked it off with a submission match between Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion, and the challenger Natalya. Natalya, Canadian, given a big match here in Canada. Wouldn't be the only Canadian they gave a big match to, and in fact, the Canadian even returned on the pre-show in Edge. Not going to go over the pre-show. That's on the internet if you care. I'm just going to go over the main show, and then also another one from Toronto would be in a big match later in Trish Stratus versus Charlotte. But the main event of the evening was Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. Anyway, nonetheless, let's get kicked off with the submission match between Becky Lynch and Natalya for the Raw Women's title, and what a match that was. The ladies both worked on each other's legs. Becky Lynch got in her submission maneuver, the disarmer, and Natalya was great at selling, but Becky would be the one selling a ton of offenses. Natalya brought their power game, spearing Becky into the ring apron, working on her back, and then ultimately going to dissect her legs, half crab, and then she even landed a sharpshooter on the middle rope. She's above the top rope while she's holding the legs there, but she's standing on the middle rope while Becky Lynch is hugging the ring post, which doesn't ground you in a submission match. I mean, it may help for leverage or it may help you get out of a hold, but the ref doesn't break on the hold for the submission match. There is no disqualification, so you have to tap out or not at all. So grabbing the post isn't going to break the hold. It just helped her escape it. In the end, though, Becky Lynch came back and she got her offense in. Natalya came back, so you thought maybe that Natty was going to get on the victory, the upset. But it was Becky Lynch with her disarmer that made Natalya tap after about 30 seconds of being in it at 12:35. So winner by submission and still Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. I give that match 4 stars. I think the ladies definitely brought it on the Raw brand. I thought that was one of the best matches for Becky Lynch and Natalya. It was a great opener for SummerSlam. The whole match was booked very well, and it was executed very well. And they gave them 12:35, and that seemed like the perfect amount of time. This match never dragged, and it definitely went bell to bell with a lot of excitement. So good for Becky Lynch to retain their title. Great, fantastic classic for the ladies to open SummerSlam 2019. Up next, we have We have Bill Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler. Just had to clear my throat there. Even Frank Sinatra had to clear his lungs time to time. That's a joke, a bad one. Anyways, we got Bill Goldberg taking on Dolph Ziggler. This match was pretty much over as the stare down went longer than the match itself. The entrances went 2 times or 3 times the length of the match itself. Ziggler sold Goldberg's moves really well, allowed Goldberg chants all throughout. The fans were really digging his return. Goldberg speared Ziggler and picked him up and hit him for the jackhammer at 150. It was exactly the kind of Goldberg squash you want to see. It happened at Dolph's expense, but better Dolph than a main event player getting squashed, I guess. I'll give this match a star just for them executing what they wanted to do, and definitely a Goldberg match with many minutes is not the right call, so I'll give it a star. Goldberg kept coming back because Ziggler kept calling him out on the microphone, so he kept kicking his ass every time he returned to the ring. Next up, we got AJ Styles working on Ricochet for the United States Championship. Would AJ lose to Ricochet? And the club was with AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. This was a dream match of sorts. It was a high-flying match. They did a ton of impressive spots, but I don't think it really gave them the next layer to be an all-time classic. They went 12:57, and Styles caught him for the Styles Clash for the finish after Ricochet jumped off the top for a twisting attack, but Styles countered in midair, which was a great spot. Styles retained the title, and I'll give the match 3.5 stars. Good match. There was even some psychology. Ricochet had his knee worked on during the match. AJ Styles was trying to ground the guy, taking him off his vertical base, and of course take his legs away so he can't do those high-flying maneuvers towards him. And AJ knows that better than anyone. So good psychology as well as spots. So it wasn't just a spot fest. So 3.5 stars. A high 3.5 stars rating for that match. So we got 2 matches in the light 3 stars and 4 stars, and the Dolph Ziggler Goldberg 1-star match so far to kick off SummerSlam 2019 with those 3 matches. Next up, we had Bayley and Ember Moon, 2 good workers here, so you could be expecting another good match, and it was. It just didn't also, like Ricochet and Styles before it didn't get into that next stratosphere, no pun intended. It didn't get into that next level where you would say this is a defining classic. In fact, it was more like a television match, uninterrupted. It was pretty average, I felt. Bayley went after her Bayley to belly suplex off the ropes for a pin. After Ember Moon went up top at 9:47, Bayley wins the match. They worked hard. The crowd wasn't into it as much because they just had 3 exhilarating matches before it. So, and even the Goldberg squash would still pop the crowd. So they needed a little bit of a breather here. So if that match, I give Bayley and Ember 2.5 stars. Still good. Kevin Owens taking on Shane McMahon next, and if Owens loses, he must quit. Elias was the special enforcer outside the ring. So Owens and Shane had a long feud, and the fans really just wanted Owens to kick the shit out of Shane, and he did. It was basically all Owens match, even though Shane tried to come in with his offense. Owens with a kick to the groin. The referee got rid of the chair. Owens with a stunner on Shane for the pinfall at 9:20. KO going over in Canada. It's not his home province, but it was his home country. And it's close to his home province. Ontario borders Quebec, for those of you that don't know Canadian provinces all that well. So it's close to his home province. And provinces are our version of states. Obviously, you'd know that. I hope. And so Kevin Owens went over in Canada. The right call. I'd give the match 2.5 stars. It was decent and fun, and it was that intermission match the crowd kind of needed. And not intermission, but the match where the crowd can kind of like get back into the show. The Bayley Ember Moon match kind of took them away for a minute, and then this went back, and then this match came up apart, and they went back on to being loud again. Next up, we got Trish and Charlotte Flair, a dream match. I have my opinions on Charlotte Flair. I don't hold the same opinions for Trish. I love Trish. I think she's great. I think Charlotte's a great wrestler too, and I think this is a great match too. I just think that Charlotte is overrated for many, many, many reasons. But I gotta give this match its props. I give it 3 stars and 3/4. Charlotte and Trish really went out there, and they gave it 16:40. The figure 8 submission got Charlotte the victory, but they gave it 16:40 to work, and it was a dream match for sure. And fans chanted, "Thank you, Trish," for what she thought would be her last match. I don't believe it was, because I didn't watch last year altogether, but I believe she came back with Lita for a match at WrestleMania, if I'm not mistaken. So, it would have been a good way to go out, but she, I think she did wrestle again, but she was in great shape, and this match went the distance, and a lot of false finishes. and just a great ladies match. So just like Becky and Natalya earlier with a 4-star match, this is pretty much close to a 4-star match. I gave it 3 stars and 3/4. Definitely a good dream match. Charlotte the victor. Next up, we had Kofi Kingston and Randy Orton, and this match was for the WWE Championship. Kofi Mania, obviously, earlier in the year, running wild. A lot of Randy sucks chant, even a Kofi stupid chant. The whole pancake slinging really got redundant and stupid, so I'm not sure if that's why the fans chanted that or not, but that's certainly one of the reasons, I'd assume. Orton shoved Kingston to the turnbuckle and blocked a kick, trading a DDT off the middle rope. The nice sequence of moves he always hits. Orton stepped outside and hit the RKO. Orton smiled about it. Kingston managed to roll out of the ring. Orton took so long to try and cover. Kingston's oldest son was flexing and Orton stared at him, so Kingston attacked with punches. The bell rang because it was a double count out at 16:45, and the fans booed loudly because it's all about the finish here. They were not willing to overlook the pretty good wrestling match that took place before it, because the finish, you don't want a double count out or a double DQ in a title match on a pay-per-view like SummerSlam. The fans will just shit on it, which they did. They chanted bullshit, and yeah, so that's how that ended up, which obviously deducts points. I'll give it 3 stars, but it could have been a lot more had it not ended that way. Probably took about a half a star off the match. Next up, we had Finn Balor versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. This was when Bray Wyatt just started becoming The Fiend. I believe it was his debut match. He had a huge entrance, and the entrance in itself was left you in awe. Fans chanted, "Let him in." At one point, Fiend went for Sister Abigail, but Balor hit the sling blade and a drop kick. Balor with a double foot to the chest, coup de grace. Then a drop kick sent the Fiend into the buckle. Balor up top with a double foot stomp, but Fiend put out the mandible claw on Balor, and Balor passed out, so the referee gave the decision to the Fiend at 3:25. I give it 1.5 stars just for the character development and the entrance and the whole character for Bray Wyatt. The match wasn't anything to see, but everything else, like I just mentioned, was. Next up, we have the Universal Championship match with Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman versus Seth Rollins. Lesnar had defeated everyone, and he had gone through everything during this long run. And would Seth Rollins be the Beast Slayer? And yes, he would. He became champion at 13:27 after Rollins hit the stomp for the pinfall victory. The fans chanted "Holy shit" as Rollins, before this, jumped off the ring post with a frog splash to Lesnar through a table. The referee could have counted them out, but they didn't even start counting. But when they went back in the ring, Rollins went up top, did a frog splash on Lesnar. Rollins set him up for the curb stomp, but Lesnar got his right shoulder, and then he hits it, and then Lesnar got his right shoulder up. Rollins set up for the stomp again. Lesnar caught him. He went for the F5, but Rollins landed on his feet, and it was a super kick by Rollins, and then the curb stomp that got him the victory at 13:27. So that's how Seth Rollins won the Universal Championship. I think it's a classic. I rate it 4 stars and a quarter, and I rate the whole event a 7.5 out of 10. So SummerSlam 2018, just like SummerSlam 2019, a great event with a lot of good matches. A lot of classics on this event, so it's rewatchable for sure. I'll see you on SummerSlam 2020. For SummerSlam 2019, 7.5 out of 10. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching.